Hi everyone, it's Krista and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're not new, hello again. So this is my channel. I love to do DIYs on a budget, Dollar Tree DIYs, thrift flips, farmhouse and rustic, wreaths, and seasonal decor. So if you like what you see here, you know what to do. Hit that red subscribe button. Also leave me a comment. I love to hear what you guys think. Also give me a thumbs up. That helps my channel. You can also follow me over on Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, and Facebook. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about a podcast that I am doing with my cousin called Mental Health Mamas. And we talk about all kinds of mental illnesses that our children have. So you could get to know me a little bit more over there on the podcast. And we have so many interesting subjects that we're going to be talking about with mental health. It's something I'm very passionate about, so I would love if you came over there and checked us out. I'm going to have the links to all my social media platforms in the description box, so make sure you check everything out. And yeah, I have 5 kids we adopted from foster care, and all 5 have a mental illness. So we're going to be talking a lot about that. And my cousin has kids, and her kids do too. But today is all about 5 under $5 DIY challenge. Our host is Crafty Cove and Farm Town Chic, and our guest host this month is The Cheek Show. So more about that in a minute, but first, DIY number 1. So the first DIY, I'm going to take this pick that I've had for a while, this leftover stars from a sign from the Dollar Tree, this star from the Dollar Tree wood star, and that America wood piece, and also some scrapbook paper, and then that is the stick tile that you could get at the Dollar Tree. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trace out the star on that tile, and it's got a plastic piece underneath, and it just comes right off when you cut it because the stickiness is under that, which we don't need because we're going to glue it down to the front of our star once I cut it out. So I'm going to glue that down. And these tile pieces are great for all kinds of DIYs. I have them from Christmas. I did one, Easter. They're just great. So next I'm going in with the plaster paint by Waverly. It's a chalk paint, and I am just going to paint the whole thing with that color. Then I'm going to come in with my antique wax, and I'm going to do like a dry brush. First, I go around the edges to make them a little bit darker. I'm going for an antique rustic look. I love farmhouse rustic look. So that is kind of what I'm going for with these patriotic DIYs. So I'm going around the edges like you see me doing here. And then I'm going to dry brush on the top. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring out all that beautiful tile that you see there. And it's going to make it look rustic. And that's what I love. So there's that. Then I'm going to take the stars. I took them off of that sign that they were on. And I'm just going to trace one out on one of the scrapbooks and paper. And then the other one on the other one. One is stars and the other one is the red and white stripes. And then I'm just going to cut them out. And then I'm Mod Podging them on to each piece. And I also made sure that I got all of that glitter off. Otherwise, they're not going to stick very well. So I just sanded the glitter right off of those. And then I stuck those on. Then once I got them on, I used my iron, my little mini iron, and some parchment paper. And if you use this and use this technique, this helps, it gets rid of the bubbles or wrinkles when you are Mod Podging. Then once it was all dry and everything, I just took my little sander and I'm going to sand off the excess paper on the sides. And once I sand them off, I'm going to take some more Mod Podge and my sponge, and I'm just going to go over the top of them as well because I don't want that paper to curl up or anything or come off. Next, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in with the antique wax, and I'm going to do the edges with my brush, my stencil brush, and then I'm going to go over the top as well. And I did a really light brush over the top of these because these are pretty much kind of, rustic on their own, but I just wanted to make it a little bit more rustic. And I did the same thing with the striped one as well. Then once I got all over the top of that one with the antique wax, I'm going to use these Jenga blocks, and I am going to, which I already painted, I didn't show you guys that part, and then I'm going to stick them to the back of my big star first, the wooden one first. And then once I get those stuck down, I want to make sure this is going to stand up. And then once I know it's good to go, I'm going to glue down both stars. So I'm going to do the stripes on one side and then the stars on the other. And then I'm going to take that pick that I had left over from, I don't even know how many years, probably 2 years I've had this pick. And it's very rustic, and that's what I love it. And I think I got it at Hobby Lobby. And all I did was take it apart, took off what I wanted, and now I'm just going to glue it to the back of the big star kind of sticking out. And then I just took a piece of ribbon that I had that was patriotic, and I helped that press it down to keep it nice and stuck on there so it doesn't come off. Now I'm going to take this America sign. This is a wooden sign. They come in a package from Hobby Lobby. I bought these. I've had them for 2 years now. That's how long it lasts, because I think you get 3 of each in a pack. So I'm not counting this in the money because I really didn't spend any money to buy this. So I'm going to put that down because the money I did spend was a long time ago. So, and there you go. There is this cute little sign that you could put up on a shelf or anywhere in your home. So I hope you guys like it. Let me know what you guys think of that one down in the comments. So today is 5 under 5. We're trying to get 5 DIYs done under $5. It's all about patriotic red, white, and blue. These are your hosts and your co-hosts, which I mentioned earlier. And also there is a playlist, so make sure you go check that out. That's going to be full of a bunch of really talented ladies. So next we're going to take this bandana from the Dollar Tree, this USA wooden piece that I had, this wooden round, that wooden other round that you see that's open, and then some ribbon from the Dollar Tree. So now this ribbon I've had for a while. I know they have it this year as well, but I didn't know it didn't have wire. So I didn't like that. So what I did is I had to figure out a way to use it, right? I don't want it to go to waste. So what I did is I cut a bunch of strips that were 14 inches each. And I used 3 different types of ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And then I went around this wooden hoop that you could get at the Dollar Tree. You get 2 of them. This is the smaller one that I took out of the package. And I'm just tying them in a knot and just going all the way around that whole wooden ring with them. Now this one ribbon I've had in my stash for a long time. I don't know where I got it, but it is not Dollar Tree. And I stuck that one in there as well because I wanted a dark one in there too to go with the patriotic theme. And I thought the blue, navy blue was perfect. And so I did this all the way around, and I just made sure both of my ends were even when I tied the knot so that I didn't have to cut anything. You know, you just want to make sure everything's nice and even and nice and tight on your ring. And then once I get all those put on, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the little wooden round. Now that little wooden round, which you'll see in a minute, I got from, oh, there it is all together, guys. Isn't that pretty? Look how pretty that is. So now this wooden round I actually got from for $1, which was cheaper than the Dollar Tree at Walmart. So look for these because they're really nice and they're very thick, and that's what I like. They're durable. So what I did is I just painted the edges with white chalk paint, and now I'm going to go around it with my scrapbook paper. I was going to use the bandana and the stars that was on it, but I figured this was much easier. So I went with the scrapbook paper instead. I'm always changing my mind when I'm crafting. So and then I put some Mod Podge down, of course, and then we're going to stick that star scrapbook paper on top. And I'm going to use my iron again, which I will not show in this part because I already showed you in the other one. And then once that's done, I go around the edges again, and I'm just using my sander to sand off any excess. And then, of course, I'm going to put some Mod Podge on top to seal that in so it stays nice on there and doesn't come off. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that antique wax again and my little stencil brush, and I'm going to go around the edges of this as well to make it look more rustic. And then I'm going to go along the top as well with just a light, very light, you guys. That's the key when you are dry brushing. Don't have a lot of paint on your paintbrush or stencil brush. And then I'm just going to go over the top of it. Really easy. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to use that ribbon that I had with the wire on it. And I am going to put a lot of hot glue and I am going to glue that down to the back of my wooden piece. And I put my little finger protector on because I was burning my finger. So be very careful. And then once I get that all nice and glued down, then I'm going to take it, flip it back over, and I'm going to put that in the center of my ring. And then I am going to make a couple little folds with my, I made the, it was 14 inches that I cut the ribbon, just so you guys know. And it was perfect to fit because I rolled it up a little bit because I wanted it to fold over on top of that wooden hoop. and then I glued it down like that, because then what we're gonna do is we're gonna scrunch it back together, and you're never gonna know that I glued this piece on there like that. So I glued it down, and now you're gonna see me, I'm just gonna scrunch it back in, see? So you don't see the space, and it looks like it was just on there. Then I took a couple wooden stars because I wanted something to cover the holes on that USA sign that I'm gonna use. So I just colored them with, I just painted them with the plaster paint by Waverly, or no, white, sorry. And then I just glued them on to where the holes were on that little USA. Now I got this USA at Hobby Lobby a long time ago. So I don't know how much they are now, but I know they're 40% off right now, all of that stuff. So it's really cheap anyways. And then I just hot glued it down to the center of my wreath that I'm making. And I think this turned out so cute, so rustic. This will look cute on a front door or even hanging up in your house. So then I went in the back and I took some jute twine that I just tied in a hoop, in a little loop like that. And then I glued it down, and I used, again, some of that scrap ribbon that I had to glue it down in the back just to make sure it was gonna stay. And there you go, guys. Really, really simple, under $5 to make. So nice. And if you can't find that USA sign, you can use wooden letters. I mean, anything. You can use stickers. You can use your Cricut, whatever you have available to you. So now DIY number 3, I am going to use this bandana this time and this flag from the Dollar Tree, which is filled with tinsel, which I do not like. So I took that all off, and we're just going to use the frame of this. So I just cut it, and then it just kind of keeps unraveling as you go. So you just kind of keep going back and forth with it, and it just comes right off. So it's really easy to take apart. And you know, that paper part came right off where the stars were. So now I'm going to use some of this red, it's a little thick, but not real thick, red yarn that I had in my stash. But you can get red yarn at the Dollar Tree now. And I am just going to keep wrapping this around and going to keep going. And then I'm going to take the white and I'm going to do the same thing. Now at the top, I did glue it down to the frame because I don't want that ugly plastic frame showing. So I want to cover that up. So what I'm doing is I'm just using my hot glue gun and I'm gluing it down so that it stays. And then I'm just going to keep tucking it in. Now the top part was hard because you have to keep tucking it in that little space. So I had to cut my ribbon. I keep saying ribbon, sorry guys. But you could do this with ribbon, now that I think about it. You could use ribbon too, guys. But what I did with the yarn is I just had to, pull it through. So I cut mine in like how much I think I needed. And then I just kind of kept going in and out with it. And then when I got to the end, I glued the ribbon down in the back. I just glued it down with some hot glue, and that was fine. It stayed. It was not going anywhere. And then once I got that all done, then what I did, see, I'm going to glue it down. I wanted to show you guys the first couple ones that I do so that you understand what I'm doing. And then once you glue it down, and you just want to make sure you pull it tight because you want it to be tight. And this frame does tend to bend because it's plastic, but I realized you can bend it right back. It's so easy. It just goes right back. And then I took the white, which was a little bit thicker yarn that I had, and I'm going to do that. Now this one I didn't have to hoop so many times because it was thicker. So, and it kind of worked out because it gave the flag a little bit more dimension, and I liked it. So it turned out really good that I used a thicker and then a thinner one. But you could use whatever you want. And like I said, now that I thought about it, being that I was saying ribbon, you could do this with ribbon too. You just slip it through. And that would be really fun too, to do different ribbons on it. Yeah. So I found this one, and I was really lucky to find this because I know that a lot of people are looking for it because they want to change it up and do something different with it. And this was my take on it. So I hope you guys like it. And then once I got it to where I wanted it, I just glued it on the back once again and cut off the excess. Really, really easy. And that yarn goes everywhere, as you can see. It comes apart really easily. So, and there it is, all done. So now I'm going to take the stars that's on this bandana and I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to cut out a piece first, and then I'm going to figure out how I want to put it on there. So what I did is I cut it down even more, and then I took some hot glue, and because it's like all rough on the edges where I cut, what I did is I folded it over and made a little seam. So I just glued it down and made a little seam like you would on a sewing machine, only I'm using hot glue. and then I cut it again, and I did that all the way around except for in 2 areas, which you'll see in a minute. So 2 spots, the inner part of the stars that's going to be on the inside, and the part on the bottom there where the white stripe starts, those are the 2 seams that I made. Then the other ones, I'm sorry, those are my dogs barking at the ambulance. Sorry about that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this all down. So like you see, I just made the seams for this section and then that bottom section. So I glued that down first. Then the side and the top, I am going to fold over and glue that down. And that's going to pull it nice and tight. And I did glue in the center too, because there are spots in the center that you can glue down, because I wanted to make sure this was on nice and tightly. So then I just glued it to the top, pulled it nice, and now I'm just going to pull it over. And where the little hoop is where you put your yarn to hold it up or whatever you want to use to hanger, you just cut that little slit and then fold it over on each side. So really simple. And then I just glued it all the way around. And then once that was all glued, I didn't do much more to this because I didn't want to. I thought it was perfect just the way it was. And it did take me a while doing the yarn, so I was happy with it. And once I got this piece glued down, I just went in with some string that I had in my stash that was like a white and red. And I just pulled it through. It was some jute twine that I think I got at Dollar Tree a long time ago. And I just pulled that through, and then I'm just going to tie it in a knot, and that's what I'm going to use as my hanger. And if you didn't want to use this as a hanger, you could stand it up on a shelf against the wall, whatever you want to do. But I think this turned out really cute, and I love it. You guys let me know what you think down in the comments. I think it turned out really good, though. I like it. So the next is DIY number 4. Now, this DIY, I love this one too. I love all of them, but I took this piece of wood from the Dollar Tree, and I also had these stars that were on one of the other Dollar Tree signs. I'm going to use some of this fabric, bandanas from the Dollar Tree that I had in my stash. And I'm also going to use some of those ribbons that I had in my stash. You can use any ribbon you have, red, white, and blue, whatever goes with the decor that you want to do. But this is what I did. I painted the edges of the sign, of the wood, piece with just navy blue. And then I took and I cut the star out of my bandana again, because I had another one, and I used that. And you get 2 bandanas in a pack at the Dollar Tree too, so it's a lot cheaper when you get 2, so it's really a good deal. And then what I did is I measured it out, and now I put Mod Podge and I pushed it down, and then I'm going to take my fabric, and I'm just going to keep Mod Podging and keep wrapping it all the way around that wood piece. And the reason why I did the ends is because if they're going to show, I want it to be navy blue. So I didn't have to worry about putting this fabric on the ends, because that would be a little bit harder. So this was much easier doing it this way. And then once I got it all Mod Podge down and it dried, which I made sure I dried it because I wanted to make sure the fabric wasn't going to come off, I went in, and with these silver stars that were on one of the plaques from the Dollar Tree, I just took them off, 3 of them, and I am just going to use my stencil brush, and I'm dabbing them with Elephant Gray by Waverly Chalk Paint, and then Steel Paint by Waverly as well. And I just keep dabbing them. I want them to look rustic and old. I don't want them to look like they're shiny and brand new, because I'm going for that look. So that is how I made these stars. Really, really simple technique. You just keep dabbing till you get it to the right, to the way you like it. Then I took the ribbon that we used before, that blue ribbon with the stars on it, and it's got the wire on it, and all this ribbon that I cut, and all the bandanas that I stripped. I used bandanas, and I just cut a little slit and I ripped them, you guys. And you just rip them down, and then you take the excess, string that's hanging or whatever off. And you just keep gluing these pieces to one piece of the ribbon that is as long as your wood piece. So you want to make sure you measure it as long as your wood piece. And the little ones, the little ribbons, I just glued on top of the bigger ones, and I put the bigger ones behind. And I just kept doing that all the way down on that piece of ribbon. I just kept gluing down the strips of ribbon that I had that matched. And then once I got that all done, I'm showing you some more because I just want you guys to be able to see it and understand what I was doing here. But you can use any ribbon you want. And then I'm just going to take my glue, and I'm just gonna pick a big hopping glue on there, and you just wanna push it down to that ribbon, and now all your pieces are already glued, so it's perfect the way that I want it. And that was the easiest way for me to get this. So, and then I made sure that it was glued on the edges down really, really well. And then I took my stars, and I'm sorry about the angle, you guys, but it was hard to get this in full screen. And I glued them on the top like that. And there it is. And then I just stapled on a little bit of jute twine, and there's my little hanger. I think this came out really cute. I love it. And this is definitely going to be hanging up on my wall in my house. So now DIY number 5. This is the last one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some scrapbook paper again from the Dollar Tree, this star that I had left over. This, that I was using those stars, that's where I got my stars off of that one. And then some more ribbon that I had. And I had these red, white, and blue beads that were in my stash. And then some Mod Podge, of course. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am sanding this tag that has USA on it because it has a ton of glitter and I don't want the glitter. So now on half of the tag on the top, I want the stars, scrapbook paper. And then the other half, I'm going to use this scrapbook paper, which looks like wood, and it's got red, white, and blue, and I absolutely love this paper. I wish they made it in a 12 by 12 instead of the smaller 8 by 11, but they don't, so... But then I did the Mod Podge, and I'm going to Mod Podge all my pieces down. So I did the bottom one, and now I'm going to do the top one. And you just smooth it out. And of course, I'm going to iron it down again because I don't want any bubbles or wrinkles. So that's what I do every single time I use my Mod Podge because it does work. And then once I get that all smoothed out, I go on and I use my sander again to sand off any excess paper. And you always want to make sure you sand away from you, not towards you, because of course you'll rip the paper if you do. Then I'm going to take that star that I had and I'm going to paint it with my white Waverly chalk paint. And all I did was flip it over on the other side. I didn't need the other side because I'm going to glue it down, so you're not going to see it. And then I used this sand color by Waverly. It's a chalk paint. I wanted to do a lighter rustic look on this piece, so I'm just doing a light outline around the star, and then I'm going to dry brush on top of it as well to show it a little bit. And I went a little heavier in some spots, as you could see. Then I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the other stars that were silver. I did the same exact thing with the elephant gray and silver. And now I'm going to take this beautiful rustic ribbon that I have, and I'm going to glue that across where I put the two ends together of scrapbook paper. That's just kind of covered up, and this gives it a more rustic feel. Then I'm going to use some of this glue that is super wood glue from Dollar Tree, and then also some hot glue. So I used a combination of both. I wanted to make sure the star was going to stick down and stay. And so I used that, and then I glued my little metal piece to the center. Then I'm going to take the beads that I strung on to the old hanger that was on there, and I'm just going to put the hanger back on. And then I'm going to take this bow that I made, which I have these in tons of my other videos. I call them my rag bows. I love making these. It's with scrap fabric and also any ribbon. And then I just put a little cute wooden piece on the top of my bow. So there it is, you guys. I hope you guys like it. Let me know what you think. Make sure you go check everyone out, and don't forget to subscribe. And like always, remember, stay crafty. Bye.